Well, let's talk about a little bit about now you're in Mexico and you haven't really looked back. It sounds like you didn't have too many regrets or self-limiting kind of thoughts or fears kind of going into this huge adventure. And now you're there. Did anything crop up then? Or were you still just, this is our decision, this is how we're going to play this out? And did you pray your way through anything or any sticky moments along the way?
It's been beautiful. We've met great people. We got involved in a church. In fact, the pastor of that church ended up leaving and David stepped in as pastor for a couple years. And so we always thought of that as kind of God's sense of humor. We thought we were retired, but no, God, you're never retired. You should always be looking for opportunities to serve. And it was quite the blessing for him to fill that role and to use his gifts in that way. Mm-hmm. I think probably the biggest if I wanted to think of all of the things we've lived through, we've seen a lot down here. And I love how the Mexican people just love on us. Mm-hmm. And when things might not be quote unquote safe, they tell you, don't go out at night. Just stay home. You don't need to go out. But we've never felt fearful. I know I get that question a lot. Are you afraid to live in Mexico? And no, I am not. There's places in the United States I'd be fearful to live. Mm-hmm. And you just use your common sense. But we're going through a series of situations right now. We had an accident with our car in Guadalajara. Now it was back in April. Mm. We were fine, but the car was totaled. We were hit by a semi. Wow. Well, we've learned how to be patient. We still do not have insurance settlement, and we may never see an insurance settlement. So we've been living without a vehicle since April. That, I think, when it first happened, and in the first couple months where we were, unbelievable, that it could take so much time to have a resolution. We were thinking, we've got to move back to the States. We can't take this anymore. And what's funny is in the United States, I was a paralegal doing personal injury work. So, a lot of car accidents and a lot of that. And I know how insurance companies work in the US. And I transferred that knowledge in my head. It doesn't work like that here.
Right.
So all of my years of experience have helped me not at all in that, other than just we're learning patience. And we've just turned it over to God. So yes, he is definitely, we are praying our way through that situation. And
thank you for sharing that. And besides, or in addition to patience, can you think of something else that has been a little bit trying for you, or maybe mindset shifts that you've had, a new way of looking at things? Patience, I could see, would be a big one, because we're used to everything just like this here in the United States, the whole instant gratification. I want my meal, I want it now. We're used to being catered to as customers and so forth. And everything generally comes fast. I mean, we can order anything on Amazon and it's there within 2 days on our doorstep. Think about that. But is there anything else that's happened, or on your behalf or David's, that has impacted you in that way, like your mindsets or your new perspective on thinking now that you're living in a different country?
Well, the pace of life here, like you said, there's nothing instant. So that has really caused us to just focus more on ourselves. And I think when we were working and going in our separate directions, pastor works weekends, paralegal doesn't, paralegal works during the day and a pastor works at night, I think our marriage is stronger because of the choice to retire. Now, we could have retired in the US had it all worked that way. But coming here, the pace of life, and seeing how, the Mexican people, they're so, I don't know, they just are so loving, and they're so family oriented, and they're so helpful. It's really helped us. I feel like we've almost taken a step back to the 1950s,
Wow.
Where families gather, kids play outside. There's no electronics that, the things the kids in the US, they're on their tablets, they sit at dinner and they're talking. There's none of that here. It's beautiful and it's pure. And that's one of the things that I cherish. We go back to the United States to visit, and sure, it's great to have all that thing, the instant stuff, and to go in a grocery store and see a million choices for the same item. Here you have one choice, and you get that.